What's up, guys? Welcome to the weekly technicals for July 28th, 2019, and we're currently looking at the economic calendar. And I do just want to apologize for missing last week. So there was no weekly technicals last week. I was in town visiting family, and I didn't have a solid internet connection, so I couldn't really upload it. And I guess I didn't really have a way to upload and tell you guys, so you're kind of made aware of that. But nonetheless, we'll continue going forward every single Sunday at typically around 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for our weekly technicals. And going into this week, today is July 28th, and the economic calendar for Monday, we have we have the BOJ outlook and press conference for the Japanese yen on Monday, and also going into Tuesday. And nothing really too much. We have some medium impact news and high impact news, CB consumer confidence for dollar index on Tuesday. And then Wednesday we have FOMC, and Friday we have NFP. So ideally the only 2 days that you guys want to be trading this week will be Monday and Tuesday. So just be on the very cautious side, because FOMC, NFP, new month, you guys know how these weeks are. We definitely want to be cautious around this. But let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the charts now. Alright, so looking at dollar index, we have had a nice little push to the upside. So I'm looking for a continuation above this 98.30 level and going into the 98.50s. If we go out to a weekly chart, we have the ICT bearish order block up here at 98.50. And then if we can get above that, then we'll likely run this swing high here at the 100 big figure. And longer term, we could go into the 104s. So we could see a pretty significant upside direction on dollar index going into the fall, especially looking at how this weekly chart's kind of panning out. We've got a low here. The market came up. We're starting to break up. If we break above these weekly equal highs and we can close above there, that'll signify a break in market structure on the weekly time frame, and we'll see a pretty solid continuation, more than likely, on dollar index. So for this week, I'll be looking for a run above 98.30 for dollar, and with that being said, we'll be looking for continued weakness on foreign currency. So if we look at euro dollar, we'll go out to the weekly chart on this as well. You guys can see we have equal lows here, we have equal lows here, so we've got a lot of liquidity built up above that below that 1.11 big figure level there. And we also have an ICT weekly bullish order block down here at the 1.1025 level. So be on the lookout for that as targets on the downside. And that's what we'll likely see in the coming weeks. For this week in particular, I'm definitely looking for a run below the 1.11 big figure, which is about 25 pips or so from where we're at now. And that will likely be the only trade I participate in for the week. Will be basically a run from, where the market opens at some resistance level. I'll go short, targeting 1.11 big figure, and potentially I'll leave a portion on for any lower prices we can get from there, but ideally that will allow me to lock in 25 pips, ideally ahead of FOMC and NFP. So that's what I'll be looking at for euro dollar in particular. Since we had this nice little retracement on Thursday, pretty ugly daily candle, I don't think we'll get any higher prices on euro dollar early on in the week. If we go out to an hourly, you guys can actually see. So we had the stop run here on Thursday. We had a nice little push up, traded back down, and then we just kind of traded sideways a bit going into Friday's close. But I think we should see a continuation to the downside. I don't really want to see them break above 1.1190 here. As long as we remain below that, we're going to continue going down. We could still break above it and go lower, but in an ideal scenario, I'd like to see them maintain that high with a lower continuation. So that's Thursday's high that we've seen here on July 25th. All right, so let's move on to British pound. Same thing for this one. We're looking for a run lower, and we do have this wick back here, so this will be the next draw on liquidity for the downside, and we're pretty close to that now. The low comes in at 23.73, so that's only about 5 to 10 pips away from where we're at now. But if we go out to a weekly, you guys can see back here we have these relative equal lows all the way down at the 1.20 level, so about 380 pips from where we're at now. So if we get a pretty strong move to the upside on dollar index, we could likely see British pound just kind of fall off the map and definitely take out these relative equal lows at the 1.20 big figure level. Also, if we get below here, this will be below the 2018 lows, the yearly low. So that's also something to keep in mind of. We could have a much longer term downside direction on British pound if that is the case, if we can maintain weakness below this low. If we do trade below here, just kind of form some wick and start trading higher, then it may not be the scenario we're looking or talking about here. But in an ideal world, I'd be looking for the market to stay below this low and target the 1.20 big figure level here, which would leave still about 380 to 400 pips or so on the downside for British pound. You guys can see the daily market structure is obviously bearish. We've got a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? So we may want to come back up, form some sort of a lower high. We do have an ICT bearish order block here, so you guys can mark this out. So the low of this candle comes in at 24.27. And again, that will be an ICT bearish order block. So if the market trades up into that level, that would be a logical point for the market to form a lower high or find some sort of resistance and start selling off and targeting our downside objectives. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll go ahead and make this red because it is a resistance level. All right, and we'll move on to $CAD. So $CAD, if we look at the weekly chart here, we've came all the way down. We've taken out the liquidity below these weekly lows here, and we've formed some sort of a bottom, if you would say that. So we could be trading higher from here, especially with dollar index pushing higher as well. We should see higher prices on $CAD currency pair. So if we mark out this, we have another ICT weekly bearish order block in this scenario. So we had one here, market traded lower, came all the way back up, traded right into it. So if you look at this candle's low, 1.3429, look at the high of this candle, 1.3432. So it traded into it by 3 pips, and from there we've seen significant weakness. So you guys can see the power these ICT bearish order blocks have. 400 pips just off that move, and that was 4 weeks. So the low here is 32.38, and that's not saying that we're going to get up into that level and we're going to just start selling off right away, but it's something to be mindful of because we could find some level of resistance there, and there could be a shorting opportunity, but the longer term trend could be bullish. So just keep an eye out for that. Obviously, if we get above that level, we close above it with strength. So if we close above like 32.50, something like that, then we'll probably have to work with like this high back here. They may want to trade back up into the 34s. So keep an eye out on that for $CAD. But overall, we should see a continued higher prices in this. And for this week, a good objective on the upside would be 32.50 or even 32 big figure, which is between 50 to 100 pips from where we're at now, because of the fact that we have higher prices expected for dollar index. We have the overall weekly and daily directional alignment is basically in line with price action and the other currency pairs that we follow to base our ideas off of. So $CAD, look for a run up into 1.32 to 1.3250, and that's primarily the main one. So this and $Euro will be my primary focuses for the week. So getting $Euro down to 1.11 big figure, maybe 1.1050 targets on that, and then for $CAD here, I'll be primarily looking for a run up into that 32 big figure to 32.50. Not really focused too much on British pound right now, just mainly focused on $CAD and $Euro. And that is pretty much going to be it for this week's technicals. I will talk with you guys next week on Sunday for the weekly technicals again. And with that being said, you guys have a good and profitable trading week. Remember that we do have FOMC and NFP Wednesday and Friday this week, so be cautious of that. And I will talk with you guys next week.